salespeople think that it's what they sell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that my purpose to sell copiers?
Yeah.
Well, it might not be, but it's your purpose. It's your calling to be a presenter of information to people. Mm-hmm. So maybe copiers is the step, and you're diligent about that, and then before you know it, you're going to get. It's going to prepare you for the next level of your personality and your presenter. You know, from a biblical aspect.
Paul,
I mean, you think of
he was a tent maker. He was a tent maker. That wasn't his purpose.
It wasn't his purpose.
He revolutionized the world when he found his purpose, though.
You know,
I mean,
but
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, being that you're a preacher.
It's quite all right.
I'm
though.
a heathen, but
can't we all just get along?
Can't we all just get along?
Our vow and our philosophy. The sales wolves hustle hard, it's our policy. We create economies, go crushing anomalies. Came in this world to dominate with no apologies. Gotta get it till the day that we cease to breathe. Sales wolves got the tools that you know you need. Real lessons, confessions of what it really means to go from nothing to something and everything between. Married in the game and we took vows, gonna get it poppin', yeah, when you hear them wolves howl. When you hear them wolves howl, yeah. When you hear them.
What's up, everybody? Tyler Harris here,
Joseph Caldwell,
James Bradford,
and we are the Sales Wolves. Welcome to the Sales Wolves podcast. This is episode 34. 3.
Just kidding.
33, and in this episode we're going to be talking about some keys to success. We've got the keys.
What?
Sorry, I just channeled my inner DJ
And for my
Khaled.
benevolent sponsor, Dunkin' Donuts.
So we're going to go over some keys to success. This is going to be a quick one, but something I think you guys will get a lot out of. Before we go into that, James, if you want to introduce yourself to the viewers here.
Special guest.
James Bradford, Vice President Regional Operations at AFBA, and honored to be here. Been watching your podcast and wondering when I was going to get the special invite and the limousine ride, and so
From
I'm
DC.
here.
It was an expensive limousine ride.
You know, money's no object when it comes to Joseph and you.
Such a giver.
Such a giver.
Speaking of giving, no, I'm just kidding.
So,
It is the key to success.
it is one of the
It's the
keys to
keys to
success. All right, so we're going to be talking about keys to success.
Yep.
And we're coming from different angles. I'm super glad that James is here because James's background, he's been an entrepreneur, right? He's owned his own business. He's been out in the streets hustling, and now he's in big corporate environment and has been massively successful in both. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to ask him, what do you think being in the corporate world, because we have a lot of people that are in big corporations, little corporations, what do you think some of the keys to success in those organizations are, outside of doing business with people like us?
Well, first of all, none of this in my life would be possible without the blessings of the good Lord and my faith in God. And, it's, Spike Lee said, do the right thing. It doesn't matter whether it's in the corporate atmosphere, the entrepreneur environment, or in your personal life. If you are grounded in doing the right thing, you're going to face opposition, but stick to the foundation of doing the right thing. I remember coming up in business, and like you all have experienced the ups and downs financially and this, that, and the other, but standing on the vision, standing on what drives you and why you're doing what you're doing. But it all has to be built on the foundation of doing the right thing.
That's interesting. He said a lot just then.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took it and broke down what he just said, one of the keys to success is belief in a higher power, right? Belief in something beyond yourself. I firmly believe that is a key to success. He also said doing the right thing as a foundation. Doesn't that sound so simple? It sounds so simple as, man, don't do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. And then what was the other thing you said? I forget.
Well, you're faced with challenges
Oh.
and opportunities to compromise all the time.
Yeah.
You know, doing the right thing isn't easy. It isn't easy, and especially when you see it one way, and it's the way that the vision or I remember when Consolidated got started, and Joe used to call, and they were so excited because they went to a firehouse, and man, we just sold 8 people. Awesome, and they were just so excited about it. And as they began to grow it, they came to the home office and they says, you know, James, we've looked at this and our vision and direction, and this is how we can do it together, but we need A, B, C, D, E, and F. And at that time, I bought into their vision. I knew my role, I knew the company's role, and in working together, we've gone from excited over, you know, 10 or 15 applications a day to now we're doing 3,000, maybe 4,000 a month. And it's a pretty exciting thing, you know, but it's about sticking to that core, the core of doing the right thing. We've had to terminate good people, you know, Joe and I both agreed, you know, because they chose not to do the right thing.
Yeah. Good people.
Good people.
But you if you're not rooted on, and if you don't think about, hey, if this situation happens, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this is the right thing. If you don't logically think about that prior to the situation, when that situation happens, you can justify it, right? And so he said something else talking about vision, right? You have to have a vision, and one that other people can sink their teeth into and buy into and understand that, hey, this is where we're all going. Katie, bar the door. We're going to make this happen, right? And so anyway, it's a fascinating.
So with the doing the right thing, it's the interesting thing that we talk about some, and I think is worth sharing, is doing the right thing when no one's watching. That's big, and that phrase, how you do anything is how you do everything. One thing that's interesting that Gary Vaynerchuk's been talking about lately is about falling on your own sword, and about this whole premise of, when, especially in a corporate environment, when things are going in different directions, and certain people may have certain opinions. By falling on your own sword, he means by if something's going to fail, if something bad is going to happen, I want it to be because of the way I did it, not because I just followed something that was being told for me to do. So like he uses the example like in marketing, you know, if they're doing this type of marketing, but you believe and you know in your heart of hearts that this is the right thing to do, that fall on your, like, be willing to fall on your own sword.
Yeah.
Because at
As
the
opposed
end
to
of the
sacrificing
day, looking back on the regret won't be, I did what I thought was right, I went all in and it failed. The regret will be, I did what they told me to do. It wasn't what I thought I should have done,
And it failed.
it still failed.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting concept to me. But it also gets back to that whole, what we talk about, karma is practical.
Yeah.
That it is a practical thing. Like if you just genuinely try to do the right thing just because it's the right thing, and it's not just in a business sense, that's everyday life.
Yep.
As far as doing the right thing, but doing the right thing with the right people. I mean, that's the ingredients of success. So.
Yep.
Another concept we wanted to discuss, which is a little interesting, is this concept of laziness being one of the keys to success. And I talked about this on a Facebook Live this week. There's some interesting things about laziness, and when you hear someone say, you know, laziness is the key to success, it sounds like one of those spam emails you get that just wants you to, like, it's like clickbait.
Yeah.
Click on it, they're like, just kidding, it's hard work. Click on this link for our mastery group. Yeah, like it's some type of
And pay us
scam.
thousands,
Yeah,
and we will
exactly.
teach you how to be lazy and successful.
The interesting thing is, though, I think the majority of people are naturally lazy. Like if they're just their natural state is to be lazy, but
Well, path of least resistance.
Exactly.
Path of least resistance is humanity, right?
But by being lazy, it forces you. If you see if for a lazy person to become successful, that lazy person would have had to build incredible structure around what they do, a system around what they do, whether that's time blocking their days and knowing that, like, hey, if there's an hour in my day that I don't have time blocked to do a certain activity, then I'm probably going to be lazy and not do something during that hour.
Right.
I'm going to waste an hour. And so if you know that, and a lot of that just gets back to self-awareness, of having the self-awareness to be able to identify and just to know that within yourself that, hey, like I'm not going to be able to do that unless I have a structure set in place and I develop those habits, which will ultimately create discipline. Because they say discipline is the actual key to. What does Andy Frisella say about? He said something recently that we've said before about how do you? Oh no, it's like how do you stay motivated, and being motivated being the key to success. He's like, I'm not motivated. Like,
No.
I'm not motivated every day. Like I said, there's days that I wake up that the last thing I want to do is get into the office or go work out. It's discipline that ultimately.
Habits.
Yeah, so it's
Forming
interesting.
those habits. What do you think, James, in the corporate world?
I think in the
Is
corporate,
laziness the key?
if laziness is the key, there's a lot of keys out there.
There's a lot of keys out there. There's a lot of keys missing keyholes.
I think that the aspect that when individuals, think that you get to a certain level where it's not a 9-to-5 job. You're always thinking about your issues, your problems that you're solving, or how to get to the next step, how to get to the next level, how to help someone else be more successful. And when you begin to think that at 5 o'clock I'm going to stop doing this, well, really, after 5 o'clock, I get a lot clearer answers on the problems I've been struggling with all day because of all the distractions. But if I just choose that, you know what, I'm not going to think about it until tomorrow, I'm not being a good steward of the opportunity. And, in my mind, laziness equals slothfulness. And slothfulness is that you have the ability, the opportunity, but you just choose to just do nothing versus really be productive. During that period of time.
Wouldn't you say, though, that every human being has the ability, they have God-given talents, skills, abilities to do something at an extraordinary level?
Absolutely.
It's discovering what that something is, and then ultimately being willing to put the work in to fulfill that. But to me, like, something I've just been intrigued with lately is just the human potential and the lack of fulfilling that potential. I just started, that was really weird. Like fulfilling that potential. Don't say that like that. That's the most awkward way to say that. It's okay.
It's okay.
But the fact that, like, so number one, to me, people have to figure out what success is. Like, for you to have keys to success, you have to figure out what is success for you. And I think so many people have taken success, what success is to them, they have dropped it down so low so that they're able to continue on whatever path they're on and work whatever level of that they're going to work, or put the amount of effort that they're going to put in for their success. And they're just, the bar is so low. And like, it drives me crazy. They
justify their bar. I mean.
Yeah, and it drives me crazy to see people that have potential to do so many incredible things, but they have just gotten, whether it's complacency or whether it's just they've been beaten down over years of different failures or different things, that they're just like, hey, this is the house I'm going to live in.
This is my lot.
The car I'm going to drive. This is the schedule I'm going to keep, and this is the lifestyle I'm going to live. And you just know that if given the right vehicle, that they could do something that was so much more fulfilling long term. But on the other side of that, success for someone, what Gary talks about all the time is, if you're successful, if you get off at 5 o'clock and you're meeting your friends at happy hour, you're going to play, you're on the bowling league and the softball team and the dart team, and you're the coach of your kid's baseball team and your daughter's softball team, and you every weekend you're with all your friends and this and that, like, and you're happy.
Yep.
And that's the key. If you're happy, then that's awesome. Like that's
success for
like
them.
you've won.
Yeah.
Like you've won. If you're happy. It's the ones that are complaining, but they're not putting the work in. So
True.
it's the ones that are leaving the office at 5 and they're going and just blowing off the rest of the day, and then they're not putting any work in on the weekends, and they're not putting in the extra effort, and then they're complaining about where they're at.
Yeah.
That's the problem that you have.
Society attributes successfulness to dollars.
Yeah.
And so they're always chasing the dollar. They're always chasing
Right.
money versus purpose of life. You know, you may be happy doing X, and X only pays Y, but you're happy, and that makes you successful. But if your eye is on the dollar, and you're always chasing, I want to drive a car like his,
Right.
I want to live in a house like hers, I want to be able to go and this, that, and the other. What if you don't have purpose? You'll chase this all day long, and you'll waste time, you'll waste money, you'll never be happy, and you'll be one of those complainers. You know, and that's true. A lot of your complainers are those who are chasing money, but never understand their purpose. When you understand purpose, you know, hey, this is what I'm here for. You know, when the battery gets upset because it can't be the engine, well, that's not what you're built for. You know, that's not your purpose. But when the battery is satisfied and it realizes I'm an important part, and I need to fulfill this in the best way possible, you have all kinds of opportunities.
And there's an interesting concept of people judging their potential based on the wrong purpose. And that's a whole other podcast we should probably
That
do.
is. Where were you when we were deciding the topic?
But that's where frustration is created, out of judging your potential, your success or failure based on something that you weren't born to do.
But how do people first of all recognize that, well, maybe I'm chasing success incorrectly. I need to find my purpose. How do you help people find their purpose?
I don't think they need to look outside themselves. I think they need to look inside themselves and entrepreneur, yeah, and figure out what makes them come alive, what fires them up. I love to see people that come alive. Like, they don't have to be in our industry, they don't have to be in any industry, but if they have something in their life that wakes them up in the morning and they're like, man, I love doing this, then
It's
do
the
it.
most difficult thing to try. That's the most difficult question to try to answer.
Super.
Because if anyone could answer it, I mean, if anyone puts together that formula to find your purpose, to find your passion.
Your passion and purpose is working with me.
yeah. That's
Don't
what
even look out. Don't even go looking further.
There are people, and we were at a very blessed event last night for
God,
a
that was
wonderful, awesome cause.
Yeah.
And to hear the gentleman from Texas that went on the one mission trip over to India, and when he experienced it firsthand, he came back and he quit his very lucrative, successful job to focus on this. Yeah. And you know, you see when individuals, you know, catch on with their purpose in life is to help people. They're willing to, you know what, money is no longer important to me. You know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to help people, and I put myself out to risk, out to hurt, in order for others to be blessed by what I'm doing. And it's not a risk in their life. It's the same thing with in business. You know, you hear stories of people pouring in 20-hour days and just money after money after money after money, and then
we don't hear stories like that. We damn did it, and we do it. We are doing it.
But then there's that 3-year mark, maybe the 4-year mark, where they persevered and they just kept believing in their purpose, and they helped so many people along the way. But They didn't make money, and then all of a sudden they turn that first dollar, and then it turns into $10, $100, $1,000, and before you know it, it's a principle of, wow, I've been able to help people. It cost me, but my reward is greater than my investment.
And so one of
The
the
seed time harvest.
Yeah.
Seed.
so one of the keys in finding
earlier. And we can go to tithing if you'd like to chat about that.
Tithing has nothing
Wait.
seed time regression time
You
harvest.
said that. We've got everybody.
So one of the ways
from Tyler.
So one of the ways ultimately to discover your purpose would be just to go out and try things. Try as many things as you possibly can and figure out, like, okay, didn't like that, didn't like this, love that, and like that guy. He went on that mission trip, boom.
Found his
clicked.
purpose.
And that's the thing, is when you find it, you know.
That's right.
And so, like,
Reminds me
even
of that saying, a ship in a harbor is safe, but that's not what ships were made for,
yeah.
right? It's a Shakespeare saying,
Yeah.
I believe. So you got to get out and do, figure it out.
And because last night at that event, when you see Jared Emerson doing the painting, and you watch him,
He's incredible.
he's incredible, but it's because it's his purpose and it's his passion.
Yep.
And like people that are in the arts and the creative side, that's where it's, to me, most tangible. And I'm always envious of those, like musicians, artists, like all that, because it's such a tangible, like, I was born to play the violin. I live to play the violin. Not me personally. But, and that's just them. And it's just so easy, recognizable, that's it. And he was obviously born to paint.
Born to paint.
Like,
with his hands.
That's 100%. And so the average person looking for that type of, like, buy-in of, like, this is what I was born to do. Like the copy salesman right now that's watching this podcast that's saying, like, was I born to sell copiers? It's how do you go from there to figuring out, like, what you were born to do?
Yeah.
But the important thing is, and we talked about this maybe one of the 2 podcasts ago, the important thing is, it was when we did the Q&A, is that in the meantime, while you're looking for that purpose, you still got to just hustle your face off at what you're doing now. Like,
That's right.
You have to work hard as you can to be as successful as you can in the place that you are now while you're looking for the other. There's so many people that, like, they just get caught in this
Well, I'm waiting
I'm just
on the
trying to
Lord.
figure out what I'm passionate about. I'm just trying to figure out, I'm just really trying to figure out, I literally met with a guy one day and he's like, man, I just can't figure out what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And then, like, 3 weeks later, I saw him on Facebook and he was talking about, like, how now he's coaching people on defining what their passions are. And I'm like, I just met with this dude 3 weeks ago and he said he didn't know what he was
He doesn't know what he's passionate
And
about.
now he figured out,
he's coaching you.
and now
on
he's
being
figured out
passionate.
that his passion is to find out what other people are passionate about.
And maybe he might
To maybe find his own in the process. Like, hey, what are you passionate about? That sounds pretty good. Let me
I
try
can't
that.
cook, but let's all get together.
about that.
But literally, I think that's what it is. Like, literally go try it. Like cooking, go try cooking. Go try art. Go try that. Like, try all these different things.
Will you cook for me?
I'm cooking up something right now. But it's such a difficult, especially when you're on a sales podcast, you're talking to people that are a lot in sales as a profession, and that they don't feel that may be their purpose. But you can find purpose in what you can do with the rewards of doing good work, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like with events like last night, being able to be involved in these things tangibly.
Did you give?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Why do you keep asking?
I never saw your pen. I never saw you pull that wallet out.
Salespeople salespeople think that it's what they sell. You know, is that my purpose to sell copiers?
Yeah.
Well, it might not be, but it's your purpose. It's your calling to be a presenter of information to people. So maybe copiers is the step, and you're diligent about that, and then before you know it, you're going to it's going to prepare you for the next level of your personality and your presenter. You know, from a biblical aspect. I mean, you think of
He was a tent maker. He was a tent maker. That wasn't his purpose.
it wasn't his purpose.
He revolutionized the world when he found his purpose, though.
You know,
I mean,
but
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, being that you're a preacher.
it's quite all right.
I'm
though.
a heathen,
It's-
but
Can't we all just get along?
can't we all just get along?
It's amazing what happens when you're around me. I just gotta be around you more often. I figured it out. My purpose, and yes, is to it. We're just here we go.
You gonna save my dirty soul?
There we go. Everybody has a purpose, Joseph,
Yes, they do.
and I know mine. We're not here by accident.
This is an intervention. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, and Joseph, we've all written
This
letters.
is my road to Damascus experience.
But it might
Dr.
not
Phil,
be.
can you-
You can't keep living your life that way.
That's pretty good.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, but it might be the stepping stone to help sharpen your blade to prepare you for the next level, and you go from from copiers, and then it might be into something else and something. Before you know it, owners of major corporations, I bet you 10% of them really can't tell the details of what their corporations are making. But they can manage it because they understand the process. They're the image before, It's an exciting thing.
And it may be that it's not what the selling copiers leads to. It just may be that if you're the absolute best copy salesman out there, and you're able to create an income level for your family to go out and do what your purpose is and your passion, to go on mission trips every quarter, to go fund this organization that feeds these people, that goes and does this, and that, or just to be able to provide for your family, and that my purpose is just to be the best dad on this planet.
Which is a great purpose.
Yeah. And so it's not necessarily like this is to find your purpose. It's, hey, go excel at what you're doing. If you sweep streets, that whole mentality.
Be the best street sweeper.
It's like a tongue twister.
Be the best.
You sweep
be the best sweet streeper.
Sweep streets, be the best.
But be the best one. But but you should want to be the best one because that's what's driving you. Whatever I'm doing, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "All that you do, do as unto the Lord." Everything you do, present it as a sacrifice, present it as a worship unto Him. Whether it be sweeping the streets, whether it be keeping your house clean, whether it be you wash your car. You want people to see, hey, not only is this a blessing, but it's success, and that I'm taking care of it. I'm that diligent about all of the activities in my life, and it's an exciting thing when you get there.
Isn't that called convergence? Isn't that what it's called when your skills and abilities meet your passion or purpose? It is. I'm gonna Google it.
That's a movie.
You're not gonna. That's divergence.
That's I was getting that confused. But you're talking about doing things to excellence. I can guarantee you, so we'll use your example, that Paul, when he was writing half of the New Testament, right, he wasn't doing that with excellence and then turning around and be like, I gotta make this stupid tent and throwing out a crappy product. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no way. I bet those tents still exist today.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
So
it makes sense. Because you, like Tyler said in the very beginning, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, and you find individuals that get frustrated because they feel they're stuck, and they start giving a 50% product, but then they want to get upset with everyone that sees this 50% product.
Yeah.
And they want to blame them, say, well, you don't understand. Well, you know what? You're hired, you're brought on to do your best. You do your best.
Yep.
And the doors will open, the opportunities will present themselves, and but if you do a 50% job,
You're gonna get.
but you get paid a 100% check.
Yeah.
Well, don't be frustrated when people look at you and recognize you not by your check but by your job.
Yep. It's a fact. Tyler, what are you doing?
I'm trying to lose up. Just
Dude,
literally going
convergence.
to.
It's
It's not
con.
convergence. Convergence is another word that I like because it's when two seemingly unrelatable things are actually running parallel to each other, and are working in.
Parallelism.
No, that's convergence. But there's another word. Brian Cason used to always talk to me about it. It's where passion, it's where your natural skills and abilities meet your passion. It's called operating out of your
Gifts.
No. It's going to bother me.
Spielberg's laughing at you over there.
That's all right.
Seriously, let's wrap this podcast up.
Okay. That's going to bother me all day long.
Good. Dude, something needs to.
Sounds like the topic for the next podcast.
It will be. That's awesome.
It's called parallelovergence.
Well, so we just wanted to put this out there. A couple of different keys to success, and then kind of got off on some other topics of purpose and all those things. But we appreciate having James on.
It's
the podcast.
Thanks for the invite.
And with that, guys, this is episode 33 of the Sales Wolves podcast. I'm Tyler Harris.
Joseph Caldwell.
James Bradford.
And we are the Sales Wolves.
Ow!